Hey guys, how's it going? I'm walking upstairs at the moment, so anyway, was listening to one guy, Zach Hing. He's pretty good as a YouTuber. He did make a comment on poly, for which he comes from, like, I'll say this now, he comes from a Christian-based background, and his point of view is that poly is not a good, healthy thing or a relationship. That it's very denigrating, and it is totally bad, completely, entirely for the male. Now, whether it's just the people that he's been exposed to within that regards, and a lot of people also agree in his comments that was unhealthy for both parties. Left me thinking. I immediately got up in arms and says, well, how dare you, blah, blah, blah. But then I was like, you know what, given his background and what he's seen and experienced, I can understand his point of view. That maybe everything that he's seen with regards to polyamorous relationships have gone bad. It's kind of weird to say, maybe they're not doing it right, because you can't really do something right to a specific sort of set standard to say, hey, look, these are the set rules and all that. I think more of the point is that a lot of people have gone into it exploring poly relationships, and they come from a really different, varied mindset and their context and the way they think about it. There's quite a few people I know who it's kind of fashionable these days to be poly as an excuse to say, hey, look, I just want to, fuck around, and bring, for some reason people say, okay, well, that's a bad thing. I said, well, no, you don't have to say you just don't want to have a steady relationship as a bad thing. Now, it's a good thing in that if you know that's what you're about and you're upfront with people, that's cool. The same as with poly relationships. If you know what you're about, you're upfront with people, and the people that you're talking to, they kind of understand, and by their nature, that's the way they think and that's the way they feel. People can try it, nothing against that, but you need to understand it's not for everybody. It's like no jobs are specifically for everybody. Not everybody likes, say, like peas. Peas are not for everybody. Some people love peas, some people don't like peas, It's just one of those things. So I put a couple of comments down, and Zach Hing's usually really good at a lot of these things, except kind of when it comes to, I guess, pornography, the more alternative sides of relationships. He comes from a different more conservative background, and not quite so. I'm not saying he's not understanding, but it is interesting to listen to his point of view and have a discussion with him, which, quite open to talking to anybody about. So I'll put a link to his actual YouTube video below, and it is quite interesting, what he's thinking, and generally what a lot of people view and think about, some poly relationships, and to understand where they come from and what they've been exposed to, and to why they've come to that decision, and just have a discussion with them. So say, okay, this is what you've seen, but in my experience, these things have happened, and yes, there are problems with this, but I know it's not the relationship structure itself, or the actual theory behind it, because in general, all theories on relationships are valid, are fine, just like all political theories and rulings are actually perfect and valid. It's when you throw people into it that it becomes a problem. I don't believe that poly in itself is a bad or negative thing. It's just a term, and it's just I guess it's kind of like a tool. Like, you could say that, guns aren't bad, and, it's the people that use them. I guess it depends on the attention and the awareness, the self-awareness of the people who do go into poly or into non-monogamous relationships. However you ascribe to that. I mean, I go along and I've thought long and hard about these sort of things and say, well, look, I generally say I'm non-monogamous and poly because that's what people understand, but the way I think about relationships is different to a lot of other people, to a lot of mainstream people, and even a little different to, I guess, the our people in the BDSM community when I chat to them. It's a matter of taking all of the relationships on a case-by-case basis and saying, okay, this is you, this is what I feel comfortable with, how I'm interacting with you, and on this level and in these things, and coming to an agreement, whether formally in writing or it just kind of gradually goes like that. I mean, that's what happens. And relationships aren't static, they do change, they evolve and they grow. And sometimes, I won't say it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's just a thing. And you know, it can be sad when you grow apart, good when you grow together, and sometimes you're growing in parallel, you know. But yeah, so there's a lot of people out there who have tried or are in poly relationships or non-monogamous relationships or in a relationship anarchy type relationship. And while there's quite a few people who don't like that particular context or structure of a relationship, I can understand where they're coming from and what they grew up in, their beliefs, and how it works for them. And things like, you know, stable family relationship, having a, you know, husband and a wife and all that sort of stuff, I'd say kind of agree to things like that. I would say definitely having role models that you can look up to, both male and female and anything in between, is good for anybody. It gives you a better frame of mind, it gives you different points of view, it challenges your way of thinking, and you have a authority with which to look up to, or authority that you will respect whose opinion on, if they come along and say, look, hey, that's not cool, you want to have a think seriously about this particular, you know, issue or angle or whatever it is that you know, they pull you up on, so to speak. So in Zach's video, he said that, you know, poly is pretty much 100% bad for men. Now I'm curious about this because I know it can be really difficult for guys. He's speaking, you know, in general, that, you know, keeping track of, you know, guys, girls, and, you know, generally different people in relationships can be difficult. But I'd like to know that, you know, do guys think, like, how difficult is it for guys in a poly relationship? Because he says mostly a lot of these poly relationships are, you know, one female, many males. And I'm like, well, actually, no, it's not my experience. It's pretty much, you know, a male, many females, many males, you know, anything and everything in between is what I've seen in experience. So speaking in strictly going from one point of view is, do you think that in some cases the guys can have a you know, short end of the stick with regards to poly relationships? If so, why? If not, why don't you think so? And if you don't think so, can you think of ways where, you know, maybe not in your experience and what you've seen, but possible ways that they can be disadvantaged? Just like there's ways that females can be disadvantaged in a poly relationship, particularly if they're not geared or wired that way, or it's what they think that they should be doing. Anyway, I best be going off. It was kind of a weird sort of a go live, but yeah, some things to think about. You know, poly relationships are not for everybody. It can disadvantage either or sex, but there's definitely a lot of interesting talks that you could have with guys and girls and everything in between about what they think and feel about the relationships. Have they tried it? What their experiences were? Was it really them? You know, or was it something they just tried? You know, and why did they keep, you know, trying it if it wasn't for them? Why won't they try it if they're you know, convinced that it is not for them? Okay, I'll catch you guys later, and I'll put that link in below. See ya. Bye.